Alright. What's up, people? I am back for another video. Figured, why not do another. It's not 80s, but this type of action movie. I'll figure out what I'll do next week. It probably won't be an Arnold movie. I'll try to do a different actor. Maybe I'll find something in Stallone I haven't done yet, but I've done a lot of his big ones. I'll see if I can find one. That's still actiony. If not, then I'll find something else. But today we are reviewing True Lies. In my opinion, one of Arnold's best. I love the whole premise. Like he's Harry to his family. They think he's just this mild mannered salesman, but in reality, he's a fucking spy working for mega sector. It has a little bit of not Bond. It has a little Bond. I thought that opening felt kind of Bondy to me, and it's like almost Arnold playing Bond. And I thought he pulled it off. Like I really love that opening. I didn't remember Tia Carrera being in the movie. Because I'll admit, it's been a little bit since I've seen this movie. So another shocker to me that his daughter was fucking um Eliza Dushku. I was like, holy, because I didn't get it because earlier in the movie I didn't really get a good shot of her, so I didn't register that was Eliza Dushku until the very end, where you could clearly see it's her. Fix the camera. But yeah, when I'm like, holy shit, that's fucking Eliza Dushku. Like very young Eliza Dushku. But yeah, it's like she was decent, as the daughter character. It's a carryover from the 80s action movies, even though this is mid 90s when this came out. So it's not the most amazing movie in the world. I mean, in terms of plot, but I actually like the whole premise. You think this guy is to his family, he's just this regular dude, but we find out he's secretly a spy who works for Mega Sector. And I thought Gibb, his friend, played by Tom Arnold, I thought Tom Arnold was great in this. He was fucking funny as his friend. And he has his little crew. Khalil, I think, was the other guy. I thought he was a decent character. Aziz as the villain was okay. He's not I'm not expecting anything special from these type of movies. He doesn't need to be the most amazing villain. He's just a terrorist. That's it. And then Juno, Tia Carrera's character, was decent. But I thought there were some funny sequences, like the sequence where because he overhears his wife talking about meeting Guy Simon, which is Bill Paxton. Who, my God, Bill Paxton, in terms of an actor, did the amount of movies he was fucking in, from really Terminator on. I mean, Terminator, Aliens, Predator 2, this movie, even I think he was in, it was either Near Dark or Near Dark. I think it was Near Dark. He was in that too. He was in a lot of fucking movies, man. So I thought he was great in this as Simon. He's one of the funniest characters in the movie. I love that this movie had a nice blend of, comedy and action, and it blended perfectly. Arnold I felt like he got to showcase both, obviously his action stuff, but I also felt like he got to showcase his comedy. I mean, especially his scenes with fucking Simon throughout the film. The scene where he, basically, because he has his wife think, because think basically that they're doing a spy mission. And it's not just because I'm talking about just the scene where they're, he's asking questions and getting info from his wife. Is he trying to find out if she cheated on him or not? And we just find out she just, just a midlife crisis and just wanted more in their wedding relationship. I actually really loved his chemistry with Jamie Lee Curtis. It's especially on paper, you wouldn't think they're, Jamie Lee Curtis isn't some, up until this point, she was not an action actress. She's done, comedies here and there, but she didn't do straight up action flicks, not of this scale. So I thought she was really great in this as Dana. His chemistry with Schwarzenegger was great. Especially the reveal, but even the scene, the truth serum scene, when he gets filled with that and he's just telling his wife about his job, I thought that shit was hilarious. The fight in the bathroom was fucking great. But in general, I think the fights were pretty good. Like I said, a nice balance of action and comedy. I didn't feel like the comedy was overbearing to the point where you couldn't take the action seriously. Aziz works for this organization called, I'm trying to remember the name, it was Crimson something. And basically, his plan is he basically threatens America if they don't leave, because this is during the Persian War, essentially, the Gulf War, I meant to say. So basically, he says if America doesn't lead the Persian Gulf, that he will set off like warheads in cities. Um, so basically, Dana finds out Harry's a spy, and they break out. And I love the action in this. He ends up rescuing. The movie's pretty simple too, like very straightforward. That's the one thing I do like about movies like this is just straightforward. I'm not saying, I like movies with like a big plot and a lot going on, but sometimes when the movie's just simple, like it works. That opening scene is so fucking great. Where basically, yeah, it was like Schwarzenegger essentially playing James Bond. It had like a James Bond kind of feel to it a little bit. You could switch out. I guess they were still. This was before, a year before GoldenEye was about to come out. So I definitely love this film. I think this is one of this is easily. I think I'd put this in Arnold's top 5 for me. I don't know what number specifically, but I would. I'm probably gonna eventually do a top 5 Arnold like list at some point as a video. But yeah, this is one of his best, definitely. The way he got to show his range, it's just a all around fun movie. The mix of comedy and action, and it blends beautifully. Um, yeah, I love Jamie Lee Curtis in this. It was kind of fun. It's fun, a trip singer in a movie like this where it's not just, it is straight up an action movie because she wasn't seen as like some action actress. So, yeah, overall out of 10, I definitely give this one like a 9.5. I fucking love this movie. Maybe, yeah, 9.5. I really just even just little scenes like his little, when Simon, because at this point Harry thinks his wife's having an affair with this guy, so he's all sad and fucking Gibbs trying to make him feel better. I fucking love those little scenes. I love those just little scenes with him too. Like, whatever I think of Tom Arnold as a person nowadays, I love him in this movie. I think he was fucking hilarious. Even just this banter in the fucking van when he's like, talking to Harry on on comms. I love that shit. So heavily recommend this one. It's 2 hours and 21 minutes, but it doesn't feel like that. It almost leaves you wanting more. Yeah, it's a great movie. So, and even the ending when fucking he kills Aziz because he's on a jet because Arnold Harry commandeers a jet because he has to save his daughter at this skyscraper. So she's on the jet, and Aziz is trying to climb. So what? Because Aziz ends up getting hung up on the side with the missiles, and Harry just fires the missile, and he says, "You're fired." That's what I'm gonna title this video. You're fired. And I'm just gonna say it. I know I haven't talked about it yet. That Jamie Lee Curtis scene where she strips. Yeah, definitely a positive. But that's not the only reason. I just think in general, like, cause she thinks she's just doing some espionage shit, and yeah, obviously it's hot as fuck. But I'm definitely gonna make that the thumbnail. I mean, I have to. Like when you think this movie, this scene, for sure. This is when movies didn't have a problem letting women be attractive, and so. But going back, I love that you're fired. Just like the creativeness of that. Let's fire the villain from a missile to a helicopter in the middle of a city. I love it. So I definitely am gonna watch this one a lot more. This is one of those Arnold ones that it may not be up there with like obviously Terminator or even Kindergarten Cop or fucking Predator. It's not one of those movies or even Commando, but I love this one. So tomorrow I will be doing The Equalizer. In my opinion, one of Denzel's best movies. I love it. It's the whole simple premise, like he's a retired man. You don't know a lot about his origins, but you could tell he's done some shit, and then he comes out of retirement basically to protect a little girl, and it's Chloe Moretz. It also does feel like a little bit like Man on Fire, which eventually I'm gonna review that movie. It gave me a little bit of those vibes. And unfortunately, I think what happened with The Equalizer, it came out at the same time John Wick did. I think they came out basically the same year. And it kind of gets seen as a little bit of John Wick, not rip off, but like kind of just seen as like trying to get on that John Wick train when it can't. I don't think so. I almost don't really see it as a John Wick ripoff at all. I don't see the similarities, like it, at all. So I'll talk about that more tomorrow. It's been a little bit since I've seen that movie. I think the last time I watched it was basically when 2 came out, which was like 2017, I think. So I'll be, or 17 or 18 is one of those years. So I'll be doing Equalizer 1 tomorrow, and then I'm gonna do 2 next week since 3's coming out next week. So that's the plan. So yeah, let's get into True Lies. So we get this awesome, cool scene where, like I said, it kind of gave me, Bond, where he goes to his party, he's flirting with Juno, while his boys Habib and Falil, I think is his name. I recognize that actor from Scorpion King. He was kind of like the comedy, he was kind of like the comedy act in that movie. But I thought he was great in this one. And, I love them on comms, trying to get Harry to... And while this happens, terrorist, Crimson One, I think is their name, attack, get some, cool action. I love that it's, like, in the snow. It's a cool little action opening. Gets back in the van, and then, he gets home. Yeah, they think he's just a mild-mannered businessman who's on trips all the time. That's why he's not home all the time. Even though he works for Omega Force. Or Megacorp, sorry, not Omega Force. I love it. Like, I love movies like that where it's like the balance, he'd think he's just his regular guy, but he's actually a spy. Kind of movie. And, so the next day, he ends up missing his birthday party because he has to chase. This is where we get this big chase with Aziz. I really love the scene. The attack in the bathroom where you got the guy in the... There's a guy in the stall. I love it. I love that scene. They end up fucking up the bathroom. The guy comes out, there's like dead dudes everywhere. It's fucking great. Like I said, that balance of humor and fucking action. It's not like I don't feel like the humor is overbearing to the point where it's not even an action movie where it's just, it happens to have a little bit of action in it, but it's mainly a comedy. I feel like this is a nice blend where it's still, I would still more say it's still an action movie, but doesn't he ends up missing his party. He tries to smooth things over with Dana, but he overhears a conversation where Dana is talking to this guy, and he starts thinking she's having an affair. So that scene with Gib trying to calm him down is fucking hilarious. I love it. Like, I love their, you feel like they've been friends for a while. Like, him and Tom Arnold actually mesh, as, he's kind of like a little bit of, the comedy sidekick a little bit, too. It's fucking great. So he ends up using Omega Core resources to spy on his wife. It's fucking great. And Bill Paxton as Simon he's awesome. I thought, because he's posing as this spy when in actuality he's just a fucking car salesman lying about it, who he is. It's fucking great. Just to get with women. So, and even just the little scenes at the house, so he ends up the sting operation where they basically kidnap Helen and or Helen's the daughter, sorry. Dana is the wife. So he ends up kidnapping. This is where you get that scene where they have like voice changers, and as Dana questions about like their marriage and if she was having an affair, it just turns out she was having a midlife crisis and just wanted to be excited about, because she doesn't know that her husband's a spy at this point. So I actually like that they put that a little bit in there too. Like, it felt real, and she actually still really does love Harry. So it's not like she was not having an affair at all. Even though the scene where they raid, it looks like, because he's on fucking Simon's on top of her, because they break in and he ends up talking on top. It's fucking great. So they do a fake mission, where she makes it seem like she's doing a secret mission. So this is where you get that iconic scene. And Arnold, I keep saying Arnold. I have a habit with doing that with these Arnold reviews sometimes, where I just say his actual name. Harry, is using like a voice changer, doing a different voice. And this is where we get that iconic fucking striptease scene, which is great. And I mean, I'm not gonna harp on this scene too much. That's all I can say. Hot Jamie Lee Curtis stripping. Enough said. And then, because she thinks at this point, she doesn't realize it's Harry. So she ends up like hitting, because she thinks this is like some other guy. So she ends up like knocking him over the head. But while this happens, as these men break in, kidnap the both of them, because now it's out that he's a spy, basically. So Dana obviously actually, I think I might have fucked up. Dana's the daughter, which is Elijah Dushku's character, who I'll admit, I like Elijah Dushku, but there's a part of me that's like, we didn't really need the daughter character. I feel like he was only there just to have that final act where Harry has to save her. Because I would have been just fine. Because I even feel like you could have tweaked that scene. Even if it is like she gets kidnapped twice, you just have it be that it's Helen he has to rescue. I feel like Dana wasn't needed. I just think it was just to have like the typical dad stuff in the movie. I'm not saying like because I didn't like Elijah Dushku in this movie. I just felt like, because when you watch the movie, like I almost forgot there was a daughter character, to be honest. I didn't really. Not just I didn't remember it was Elijah Dushku. I didn't remember there being a daughter. I almost remember more just the two of them. And I think it would have worked better if it was just the two of them. I didn't really think they needed the daughter character, if I'm being honest. Because I even feel like I said, you could tweak that ending scene. So, but it's not like a negative. I still love this fucking movie. It's just, just I have to mention it. So yeah, Helen is, Jamie Lee Curtis's character. So Helen finds out that her husband's been lying, and obviously she starts off mad. But then, yeah, this is where we find out Aziz's plans, who they smuggled warheads in, and the guys with Juno's like an art kind of person, which that's Tia Carrere's character, who I thought she was great, even though we don't get a lot of her, because we only really got her in the beginning, and then this sequence. So this is where we get Aziz's plans. Basically, he threatens like America to leave the Persian Gulf, because this is during like the Gulf War, or around that time. So he then forces Harry to make a video. Then this is where we get that truth serum scene, which I fucking love. Like, this movie goes, even though it's like almost 2.5 hours, it's like 2 hours and 20 minutes. I didn't actually realize it was that long. I thought it was only like an hour and a half or something like that. But even then, you want more. Like, it doesn't feel too long. And like, it goes, really. I love this truth serum scene. This is where I really feel like Jamie Lee Curtis and Arnold's chemistry really shine, is in this scene. And just, it's also funny because, Arnold has to play it. He's, it's truth serum, so he's almost like high in a way. Where he tells, she asks, have you killed people? She asks several questions, and I even love the part where basically he tells him how he's gonna break out, and he breaks out exactly the way he says it. So he ends up killing the guy and breaking out. The scene where Harry starts killing people, but then Helen has the Uzi, but she accidentally drops it, but the Uzi's still fucking shooting. Is fucking great, and it's like accurately just killing people. it's one of those things you just accept. I don't think that would happen in real life. And if it did, I don't think it'd obviously be that fucking accurate, but it's a movie. It's like, even though it's the mid 90s, this was like 94 when this came out. I definitely still say, like, action movie physics. I kind of can turn my brain, not fully, but like, when I mean turn my brain off, I'm not like, oh, why is that gun still shooting? You know? Kind of thing. And not even just that. Why is that gun still shooting and it's like accurately taking out everybody? It just makes for a funny scene. I can live with it. So I thought that was great. But then an explosion happens which separates Helen and Harry, because Harry has to end up going in the water, so Juno ends up kidnapping Helen. Initially she's ready to kill Helen, but Aziz basically forces her to take her hostage. So this is where, because basically Harry had like it was either Harry or, no, Helen had the microchip. So the Megaforce show up, like, Gib and Khalil and stuff, in the helicopters. We get like a big helicopter chasing with like a jet showing up. They end up blowing up a bridge. We get a fight between Helen and, Juno, which was actually a decent fight, to be honest, even though it's like in a limo, which is great. They end up blowing up the bridge, which Harry ends up grabbing Helen before the car falls. Basically Juno falls to her death when because the driver was shot during this. So they rescue Helen. They basically avert stop the missiles, but while during this, Aziz basically escapes, and it turns out he's at a skyscraper holding Dana and a bunch of other people hostage. Khalil Posey is like a delivery guy. Comes in, takes out a lot of basically most of Aziz's men. This Dana escapes. We get basically a chase scene on the skyscraper, which I actually like on a crane. I did like that in the heights. It made it a little scarier. So during this, Harry realizes his daughter is in danger, so he basically steals a jet. Because we learned, because Gabe, trying to stop him, like, you haven't flown a jet in like years, basically, is what he said. But yeah, so Harry takes the jet, rescues Dana, but Aziz jumps on the jet, and Harry basically trying to shake him off. Then Aziz has a gun on him, but then Harry manages to flip the jet to where Aziz falls on a missile, and this is where we get that awesome "you're fired" scene, destroying buildings in the process, which I thought was funny. Just like all this, like, for a spy movie, there's a lot of destruction, basically. Like, a side of a building gets destroyed, then, yeah, they fire the missile, which hits a helicopter, and, the debris falls. He lands the jet, saves the day. Then a year later, his wife joins him, which I love this scene. I love this ending. This is probably one of my favorite endings, when she joins him on a mission. They scare Simon, and then they dance, basically, to, setting up, like, a job. Because now, basically, she's Helen's a fucking agent now. I would not have minded a sequel. I don't know what ended up happening, why they didn't do it. I wouldn't want one now. Apparently there's a show. I'm not fucking watching it. Nah. If they're gonna do another True Lies, you should have did a sequel. Because even the way it ends, I wouldn't have minded it, because you could have easily they're doing a different mission. Now she's an agent. I think that would have been interesting to see where that could have gone. Because even just that little bit in the ending was great. But in a way, maybe ultimately the right thing happened and they didn't do a sequel, because who knows, maybe it wouldn't have been as good. There could have been that fear. Maybe they wouldn't have recasted Arnold, but they may have recasted Jamie Lee Curtis. Maybe she would have been available or whatever. So ultimately, and maybe I am happy that they didn't. Like, you can always in your head think, okay, they did more missions. Whatever. I don't necessarily need to see it. So I love this movie. Jamie Lee Curtis and Arnold definitely carry. I think they're a big reason why I love this movie. They feel like a legitimate husband and wife. So I gotta say, Jack Harry um and Helen are probably one of the best movie couples. Even though, yeah, they don't get a lot of like romance moments in the movie because even in the beginning, you don't get, because he's still more on missions, but towards the end, they have that chemistry. Like you buy them as a couple. Um, like I said, that's not really a negative. It just would have been my personal change. While I love Eliza Dushku, I didn't think there needed to be a daughter character. I felt like you could have easily done this movie just him and Helen, and that's it. You could have easily the movie, even the ending, could have played out the same. I didn't really feel like the involvement of Dana changes anything because she doesn't even really feel like she's part of the movie anyway. And I love the movie. It's not necessarily a criticism, but like it is just something I have to point out. Like she doesn't even really feel like she's part of the movie because she's in the beginning, and I think she shows up some point in the middle of it. But then you don't see her again until that end, and you could have easily tweaked that where Helen, for some reason, ends up at that skyscraper or something. Something happens. Maybe you don't have it that he lands or safely. He takes her like I don't know. Because I feel like Dana was only there just so you can have that ending sequence, which was good, but that was it. And maybe for some people, and like it's this minor thing I'm pointing out. It's not a criticism again, but yeah, overall, I fucking love this movie. I love the premise. You think that like she's married to this normal, mild, no, not mild manner, but like he's this just regular guy, but he's a spy, and the way they incorporate the spy stuff is awesome. He's a decent villain. He's not like I didn't need him to be like some amazing villain. Not every villain needs to be like an amazing level villain. Sometimes just he's just a terrorist. That's basically all he is. That's all he needs to be. He didn't need to be anything more than that. Yeah, I love the "you're fired" scene. I find that's one of my favorite Arnold quotes. You're fired, and just fires a missile. Him on the missile. That's fucking crazy in general. So 9.5 out of 10. It's a great Arnold film. It's a great spy movie too. Like even on its own as a spy film, I definitely like it. I think it ranks so. And this came out a year after fucking Last Action, which in my opinion, I would probably put that in the top five too. I think that's an underrated one. That's one like a lot of people. I've said that before, and I know this is a side point. Last Action here, unfortunately, because it came out like that same time as Jurassic Park, it just got overshadowed. But anyway, back to this movie. Like just Arnold did two bangers year back to back, and this one I fucking love it. I love the way they mix spy action movie, but also have like a comedy. There's a lot of comedy in this movie, but it's not done in a way where it gets in the way. So 9.5 out of 10, definitely rank it. Even just obviously for the striptease scene, but JK, I just think in general this movie's great. There's like you have everything. Tia Carrere's fun. The truth serum scene is one of the funniest sequences in the movie. I actually think the bathroom sequence is fucking hilarious. So, yeah. But I'm happy I reviewed this movie. I kind of felt like I needed to review this one, so I knew eventually I would. So, I did that one today. Tomorrow, Equalizer 1, and Friday, Spider-Man 3. So that's my next reviews, at least for the next 2 days. I don't know what I'm doing Saturday, but I know at least those I'll be doing. That's my next two. We'll see what I do on Sunday. But anyway, guys, I'm going to cheers. Watch True Lies. It's awesome. All right. Talk to y'all later.